Thank you. This is Omori. Yesterday I was in Hakodate, where I gave a lecture in a medical society meeting. The director, chairperson, gave the lectures first, and I was the third speaker, and I didn't have enough time to speak. Initially, I was given 40 minutes, but I was asked to talk just for 20 minutes instead. My talk is not so an academic, so please feel relaxed. I am a director of the film, and at Osaka University of Arts, I have been teaching in the film department. And then the students of this university, of course, they are very young, and in a couple of years, the millennium generation or the even younger generation will fill the university. And I ask sometimes these students to pick 3 films they remember the most, at least one, or sometimes all of the 3 films they choose are animated films. They are a generation younger than we are, and for us it is a bit shocking that we think that the animated film is not the real sense of a film, but this may be quite a controversial comment today. But Kurosawa's film are considered to be equal to the animated films among the young people. And the animated film, I don't like to dismiss that as a way of expression. The animated film is one of the culture that Japan is proud of to the world, and the level of completedness is one of the best, I think, in the world. We also have the film festival, film award in Japan, and the animated film is just grouped in the same group with the live action films. For example, last year, the animated film in this corner of the world got a lot of awards. Again, I am not intending to dismiss the animated film in comparison to the real live action films. But I still have to admit that I felt something is wrong with this. And then for this symposium, I was given a title. What do people act for? Why do we act? And when we encountered this title, I saw what's beneath my strange feeling. That is about acting. Acting is something human do. This is a very primitive principle. And direction is something a human does to other humans. If this is the definition, and then in animated film, there is no acting or no directing either. There may be something resembling to that, but in animated film, the people do not act, and there is no direction by the people. In our film, if that film gets an award for the best picture, for example, the protagonist or antagonist will be chosen for the best actors or actress. But if the animated film gets the award for best picture, who is going to appear on the stage as the best actor and best actress? Probably that is why I felt something is wrong with this. I shouldn't say anything more about animated film, because if I say something additional, it may go viral. But Probably animated film is some other form of film art in a different genre. So today's my topic is about the CG expression in the film. To put it crudely, CG, computer graphics, is a film created by computer. And with CG technology, you can make everything, anything, from the cityscape to mountains, the ocean, and even the cosmos. Once we had to shoot with camera, but just with a keyboard and monitor screen, we can create everything and anything. It is not limited to the landscape. Even every living creatures can be reproduced or produced by CG. The tigers, lions, and elephants in the zoo, you can depict them with CG, and also microorganisms and insects. And also even now extinct dinosaurs, everything can be drawn by CG. And then we have a kaiju, a kind of monster that can only be seen in the film. Godzilla is a famous film of Japan that was produced in 1954. Before that, in the US, there were mega creature films such as King Kong. They used the technology called dynamation. They made guignol, big doll, and that was used and shot frame by frame. 1 second has 24 frames in the film, so you have to move this guignol doll 24 times to create 1 second length. Now we have a similar the film called clay animations. The method is the same. When we produced the Godzilla film, we also think about using the similar technology. However, to improve the efficiency and the time and the budget, we thought that it will be better to use the full body suit. We call them as a suits actor or suited actor today. Sound cool, but back then the actors in this full body suits of Godzilla visited the actual zoo to observe the behavior of gorillas and rhinos and elephants. And then we recorded in a slower motion to enhance the reality. And this actually worked phenomenally, and it became a big hit. And still this film is shown here and there. It's almost like a classical work. And since then, when it comes to kaiju monster-based film, this full body suits became a norm. But in contrast, in the US, this method was not used. Dynamation continued. Why in Japan we continuously used this full body suit instead of a dynamation? There are many theories behind it. And one of them is, as we enjoyed the performance, in the US, they don't have kabuki or this kind of traditional performing arts, but we have them. What I mean is that the face masks or the behaving as if the other characters, this was a part of the traditional performing arts of Japan. This may not be correct to say, but the costume play, cosplay, may also derive it from kabuki, for example, because that is very popular in Japan. And when I enjoyed children's kabuki, I saw some commonalities between the two. So this type of costume covering or heavy makeup of the actors of kabuki and face masks of no. Because we had this traditionally, this full body suit type of performance became the mainstream. I would not delve into this too much details. But the animation in the US and the full body suits in Japan was the 20th century. And in the 21st century, we have CG. And in the US, they started to use computer graphics to show the dinosaurs. And Jurassic Park is one of the most famous one. I watched that film and it was really lively. And they succeeded about it phenomenally. And since then in Hollywood, the mega creatures, they use CG. And in Japan, I am a kind of the last generation of the full body suits. And now the CG is getting the currency, and I think that this will be the mainstream. But why do people act and perform? Coming back to this theme I was given, as I mentioned in the animation, the acting is what human does, and the direction is something human does to other humans. And then what about the CG? In CG, the dinosaur acts according to the computer calculation. So in that sense, the kaiju or the monster in Japanese film in the older days, that was directed by the human, and inside this kaiju there was an actor. So it was direction and the acting. The acting is directed by the special effect directors. So there was no recalculation operation by computer involved in that. This is Mr. Koichi Kawakita, the director, my fellow director. He unfortunately passed away 3 years ago. He was dubbed as Mr. Godzilla. He directed most of the film of Godzilla, and I myself was involved in it. He directed the Godzilla like this. This is again the way this kaiju walks. He is explaining how to walk to the Godzilla, and the Godzilla listened to that direction. And he is saying, shout, now shout to Godzilla. This is the King Ghidorah, the enemy of Godzilla, and they are fighting and directed. This is the TV tower of Sapporo, and this Godzilla is about to destroy this. And this is how the hand of Godzilla should move. And this is a part of the direction. This is a space Godzilla. And how the mouth should be shaped, there is a clear direction like this. And directing Godzilla to go in this direction, and Godzilla is attentively listening to the director. So this is a uniqueness of this type of Godzilla film without CG. The Godzilla and the kaiju acts as was directed by the director. And I directed 2 Godzilla films, and Mr. Kawakita was involved in the special effect direction. The first one was Godzilla vs. Violante. This was the first experience for both of us to be in Godzilla film, so I put every possible energy into it with several failures, but basically we were able to do everything we wanted. That gave me a lot of sense of fulfillment. And 2 years after that, because that Godzilla vs. Violante was highly acclaimed, and I got another order of producing another Godzilla films. As I said, I had done almost everything I wanted, and Mr. Kawakita had already done everything he wanted in the first film. So this time, what should we do? We came up with a new idea. We hoped that the kaiju Godzilla will do the acting by itself. It was an emotion, so the anger is okay, but how about love? Love to be acted by Godzilla. The Godzilla feels something and filled with emotions. That is what we wanted to create this time around. And I wrote the screenplay, the weeping Godzilla, crying Godzilla. Mr. Kawakita loved this idea, so we wanted to put the maximum emotion to the facial expression of the Godzilla. And then we came up with a story. At the end of the Pacific War, in the southern island, the U.S. troops invaded that island to attack. And the Japanese troop were prepared to be completely attacked and defeated. But from some reason, the Godzilla or dinosaur abruptly appeared to the island, and then the Japanese troops, the remnant, went back to the main island. And playing forward several decades, Japan enjoyed a prosperity with the advancement of the industry in a peaceful world. This film was made at the top of the bubble economy, when Japan actually enjoyed the prosperity. And the one military soldier who was almost defeated by the American troops now was the executive of a successful company. And now the Godzilla came to the mainland of Japan. After the U.S. military had the nuclear testing in some island, and the Godzilla was evolved into the dinosaur was evolved into the Godzilla and landed to the mainland of Japan. So this is a phenomenal encounter between this the soldier turned executive and dinosaurs turns Godzilla.
So I understand human being can recall 50 years ago, but whether Godzilla is able to recall 50 years ago. So whether Godzilla can remember a man whom he met 50 years ago. So there are many questions, but this is a story made up to show the emotion of Godzilla. So this is the storyboard that Mr. Kawakita created. So here in this scene, so this is the scene that we discussed a lot about the facial expression and the effect, special effect was taken care of by Mr. Kawakita, but I gave a direction to this actor, human actor. But in the original screenplay, Godzilla was supposed to shed tears, but the Mr. Kawakita changed this screenplay a little bit, so Godzilla didn't really shed tears because he saw it's too much to make Godzilla shed tears. That's why the Godzilla didn't shed tears. Among different Godzilla films, this is the most emotional scenes for Godzilla. Of course, you might come up with different questions, but first we wanted to make Godzilla shows emotion. So with this purpose, we came up with this story. So this is different from the CG, of course, and I don't think the CG can make this kind of the expression. And I think I would like to close now because we have the following general discussion. So as I said, then any creatures can be created by computer graphic. And of course, the human beings can be also created by computer graphics. And now you can create actors who already passed away in the past. So actors after pass away, they can be also playing in the future. Or of course, you can erase a crease of the older actors and actresses, turn them into younger actors and actresses. So you can do anything by computer graphics. And now you have a computer graphic-based actors and actresses. So if that is the case, we wonder how the actors, real human being and actors and actresses will survive in the future. If we pursue this pathway, there will be no actors and actresses in the future, so everything will be created by computer graphic. That is not impossible. But I myself, who has been involved in filmmaking since 20th century, I believe a movie is a drama. Drama is about the human and acting. And human acting is born out of the human direction. So when human acting disappear from the movies, there will be no movies anymore, to my viewpoint. So why do people act or perform? Though this is quite significant and meaningful to think about that. So today I showed you a Godzilla film, but my message is that the movie isn't acting. So movie is a drama. Drama is people acting. That is very important. Thank you very much.